So hello everyone. Today we'll be discussing about slit lamp examination and overview with instrumentation. So today we'll be basically discussing about the parts of the slit lamp or about the instrumentation part as well as the techniques which we can perform with the slit lamp, and we'll be discussing few additional things which can be done along with the slit lamp. So slit lamp biomicroscopy, if we defines it as careful observation of the eye and monitoring of ocular response to the contact lens wear are requisites to successful contact lens fitting. So if we'll say by observing the surface of the cornea, well and good, we can improvise the fit of a contact lens onto the patient's cornea by observing the surface of the cornea, like whether there is any abrasions are there, whether there is any epithelial loss is there or not. Well, by assessing all those things, we can make sure that the success of contact lens fit will be higher. The slit lamp biomicroscope is the main tool used in this process, providing a magnified illumination controlled binocular view of the ocular structures. So over here what we are achieving is we will be projecting a precise slit beam onto the patient's cornea. Along with, we can observe the structures in a magnified format so that the structures will be easily differentiable, or we will be able to differentiate the epithelium as well as Bowman's layer in a better manner, or the surface will be more prominent to observe. The principal components of the slit lamp are an illumination system that provides a focus slit image of the light and a biomicroscope with high resolution, typically between 7 and 40 times. So, basic components of a slit lamp will be an illumination as well as an observation system. Along with that, we'll be having a mechanical support too, which is not an optical part, which is just only to support the patient. Okay, so in the illumination system as well as observation system, in illumination system we'll be having the light filter, apertures and the projecting area, and in the observation system we'll be having a microscope, or we'll be having a compound microscope with which we can achieve a magnification up from 7 to 40x. Both systems can be moved around a common center of rotation so that there is a common point of focus which is constant as the system is moved over the curved surface of the eye. So over here what we are seeing is like, uh, even if we rotate or move the illumination system from the observation system, or even if we move observation or illumination system separately, still the the focusing point, or the point where the eyepieces focus, and sorry, where the observation system focus and where the illumination system focus will be at a common point. And this particular, because of this reason, we call this system as a coaxial system. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ പറഞ്ഞത്, നമ്മൾ ഇല്യൂമിനേഷൻ സിസ്റ്റത്തിനെ മൂവ് ചെയ്താലും ഒബ്സർവേഷൻ സിസ്റ്റത്തിനെ മൂവ് ചെയ്താലും നമുക്ക് കിട്ടുന്നത് ഒരു കോമൺ ഫോക്കൽ പോയിന്റ് ആയിരിക്കും. സോ അപ്പോൾ അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ വി ഡു കോൾ ദിസ് സിസ്റ്റം ആസ് എ കോആക്ഷ്യൽ സിസ്റ്റം. So the parts of a slit lamp will be observation system, illumination system and mechanical support. So in the observation system we already said that it's a compound microscope. So we'll be having an objective lens and eyepiece lens. The objective system is composed of two optical elements, an objective and an eyepiece. So it presents to the observer an enlarged image of a near object. So നമ്മൾ ഏത് ഏരിയ ആണ് ഒബ്സർവ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്, that particular area will be magnified. The we can view a magnified view of the observed area with the observation system. The objective lens consists of two planar convex lenses facing towards the patient, providing a composite power of 22 plus 22 diopters. So the objective lens what we use in the observation system will be of a plano convex in nature. and the composite power of the objective lens will be plus 22 diopter. The microscope is binocular, that is it has two eyepieces giving binocular observer a stereoscopic view. So we are using the system as binocular is why it is because if the system is binocular, then we'll be getting a stereoscopic view, or we'll be able to determine the depth of um, any ocular condition. So consider if the patient is having an epithelial erosion, we'll be able to measure the depth of that damage. The eyepiece has a lens of plus 10 diopter. To overcome the problem of inverted image produced by compound microscope, slit lamp microscope uses a pair of prisms between the objective and the eyepiece to reinvert the image, and those prisms are known as Porro prisms. The most slit lamp provides a range of magnification from 6x to 40x. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മളിവിടെ ഒബ്ജക്റ്റീവിന്റെയും ഐപീസിന്റെയും പവർ പറഞ്ഞത് ഒരു ബേസിക് സ്ലിറ്റ് ലാമ്പിന്റെ മാത്രമാണ്. So we will be getting a magnification from 6x to 40x in common. By changing the objective as well as eyepiece lens, we can increase the magnification of the whole system. So here is one model. This particular model of slit lamp is known as a Hack Street model, and the illumination system is inversed in a rod where the bulb will be at the superior portion and the projection system will be near to the mid of this particular system. And here we can see the eyepiece too. Sorry, the observation system too. And this model is known as a Zeiss model. The basic difference between a Hack Street and a Zeiss model will be the projecting will in Hack Street model will be using a projecting mirror, and in Zeiss model will be using a reflecting prism to project the light into the patient's eye. And the other advantage is like the other difference, not advantage, the other difference is like the Hack Street model can be offsetted, or we can break the coaxial system in a Hack Street model, and in Zeiss model we won't be able to break the coaxial system, or we won't be able to offset the Zeiss model. So the illumination system, to assess the change in the optically transparent media, a light source with clearly defined edges is needed. So to observe the damage or observe the improper surface of a cornea, we definitely need, if we want to notice the improperness of the cornea, we need a clearly demarcated or differentiated edged illumination. Okay, to ensure that the light is not diffused away from the point of focus unless there is irregularity in the media. So for example, if we are projecting a circular or a spreaded light, what happens will be, whether there is diffusion or not, we won't be able to notice it up. So consider the cornea is irregular in nature. If the cornea is irregular in nature, there will be scattering of light at the irregular surfaces. If there is scattering of light, we won't be able to notice it up with an irregular shape, or if the projected beam is irregular in shape. If it is regular in shape, we will be able to determine the scattering and the origin of the scattered light. An optical system projects an image of a mechanical slit aperture which can be varied in height and width onto the surface being examined. We'll be having a mechanical aperture, slit aperture. With the help of that mechanical slit aperture, we can make a circular light or circularly projected light into a slit with different width as well as with different height. An optical system, the illumination can be augmented by the use of filters such as diffusing, heat reducing, or dichroic filters, neutral density filter, then red free filter, as well as with cobalt blue filter. So diffusing filter, we all know, to diffuse the light throughout the anterior surface of eye, we will be using the diffuser light. Then heat reducing, to reduce the evaporation of tear film, to reduce the effect of heat on the ocular tissue, we can use a heat reducing or a dichroic filter. Then neutral density filter, less light, more comfortable for the patient. So consider if the patient is having some corneal abnormalities like some corneal aberrations. Okay, so if the patient is having some corneal aberrations, what happens will be there will be scattering of light. And if we are projecting a strong beam of light, then the scattering will be even more, and the patient will appreciate photophobia from the strong light what we are projecting onto the patient's eye. So it's always better to use a neutral density filter, so the sharpness of the light will be cutted off evenly throughout the spectrum. Okay, so the brightness of the light will be lesser, so the patient will feel better comfort from that. Then again, red-free filter enhances contrast between the blood vessels and the cornea or sclera to render vascularization and hyperemia more will be more visible. So consider if you are using a red-free filter, it will cut off all the other things other than so it will cut off the red free filter. The color of the red free filter will be green. Okay, so if it is green, it will be cutting off other spectrums. So it will be cutting off the green, sorry, it will be cutting off the red and will be observing the red as black in that same picture. So we'll be able to observe the redness or the hyperemia in a better manner. And a blue filter or a cobalt blue filter is used to enhance the visibility of fluorescent. As we all know, the cobalt blue filter will excites the fluorescent, then the fluorescent will get into a higher energy level. When it comes back to its own lower energy form, it will emit the absorbed blue. It will be absorbing the shorter wavelength and it will be emitting the longer wavelength, which will be green in color. So we'll be using blue or cobalt blue filter to enhance the fluorescent appearance, which will help us to determine the fit of rigid lens as well as to observe the tear film as well as to observe the surface of the surface of the cornea or the ocular surface. The illumination The illumination system of most slit lamp biomicroscope consists of a tungsten or halogen lamp with a condenser system to gather all light emitted into the projection system. In turn, consists of a focusing lens and an objective lens at its output point. Because of the shape of the illumination tube, reflection surfaces are provided to direct the light path in the desired direction. Along the path of the light are uh, are various filters. Some are used for safety reasons while the other are used to change the color of the working light. The infrared absorption filter for heat absorption together with cobalt blue and red green filter for red free and green lights respectively. Also, variable slit apertures are used to vary the shape of the light output. So, അപ്പോൾ illumination system നമ്മൾ എന്താ പറയുന്നത്, will be having a source of light which will be either tungsten filamented or a halogen lamp. Okay, and the whole light which will be emitted from that lamp will be gathered onto a projection or an output system, output point, which will be our projection system. So because of the shape of the illumination tube, reflection surfaces are provided into direct the light path in a desired direction. So in that whole system, we'll be projecting the light in a unidirectional manner, and the light will be passing through different apertures and filters. Okay, with the help of those apertures and filters, will be able to determine the shape as well as the brightness of the light, even the color too. So, അപ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ illumination system നമ്മൾ പറഞ്ഞ will be having a bulb, then we'll be having a condenser which will make the light which are the light which are emitted from a bulb will be divergent in nature, will make the condenser to make the light parallel. Then again we'll be having variable filters as well as apertures. Then we'll be having filters, then we'll be having a projection lens which will again make the light convergent in nature. Then with the help of a mirror, we'll be projecting the convergent light into the desired area where we need to observe. Then in mechanical support system, we'll be having fixation target, we'll be having a chin adjustable knob, we'll be having chin rest, canvas alignment marking which will be over here, which will be mentioned as a dark circle around the tube. Then forehead rest will be there, hand grip for the patient, locking mechanism of the base plate of the slit lamp, low friction plate will be there which will enable us to move the slit lamp in a smooth manner. Then height adjustable system will be there, power switch and a rheostat will be also present at that particular area, then joystick to move the slit lamp in an easier manner. Then types of illumination will be diffused illumination, will be dividing the illumination into 7 different categories. Diffused illumination, direct illumination, indirect illumination, retro illumination, specular reflection, sclerotic scatter and oscillatory illumination. In direct illumination, it's again been categorized into 3 different areas which are optic section, parallelopiped and conical beam. Retro illumination is again divided into direct retro as well as indirect retro. So diffused illumination, we from the name itself it states the illumination which we are projecting onto the patient's ocular surface will be diffused in nature or it will be spreaded in nature. It is used when a focused slit is not needed for general examination of the external eye and adnexa. So we'll be projecting a wider broad beam onto the patient's eye with lower brightness. So, and the assessment of the contact lens. For the assessment of the contact lens fit, we generally use a diffused illumination. This is more comfortable for the patient and does not flood the eye with light, resulting in reflex tearing. So, we will be able to control the brightness of the light in the diffused illumination so that it will reduce the chances of reflex tearing because of the excessive bright light. So, അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ ഒത്തിരി ബ്രൈറ്റർ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഏരിയയിൽ നമ്മൾ നോക്കിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒത്തിരി ബ്രൈറ്റർ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ലൈറ്റ് നമ്മുടെ കണ്ണിൽ പ്രൊജക്ട് ചെയ്താൽ എന്ത് സംഭവിക്കും, റിഫ്ലക്സ് സെക്രീഷൻ ഉള്ള ചാൻസസ് വിൽ ബി ഹയർ. So to reduce that, we can use a diffused illumination. Then the next one will be direct illumination. Direct illumination നമ്മുടെ പേരിൽ തന്നെയുണ്ട്, where we are projecting that particular area will be observed. എവിടെയാണോ നമ്മൾ പ്രൊജക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത് ആ ഒരു specific structure will be observed. This is the most common method of viewing all tissue of the anterior eye. The focused slit is viewed directly by the observer through the microscope. The magnification can be increased quite evidently from 10x to 40x or more to view any areas of interest in greater detail. So if we want to observe the corneal epithelium, then we will be able to project the light onto the patient's corneal epithelium and we will be able to increase the magnification so that we can see the cellular structures in a better manner. Then the next one will be parallelopiped, or it is also known as a broad beam. So generally a very wide beam is used for surface study, whereas a very narrow one is used for sections. So parallelopiped is usually used to study the surfaces. A useful combination of the two is the parallelopiped section of the cornea, which uses a 2 millimeter slit width, enabling corneal surface as well as stroma to be studied. This allows us to ascertain the depth of any interesting features. For example, foreign body, corneal aberration. Direct illumination on the front surface of the crystalline lens reveals the orange peel effect produced by the cell bodies of the lens fiber just below the front surface of the anterior surface of the lens, and on the iris allows observation of the iris pattern. So we'll be using a slit beam with the width of 2 millimeter, and we'll be projecting the same thing onto the patient's ocular surface. Okay, so once the light beam is been projected, we'll be able to observe the surface structure as well as the section too. So the as the slit beam is 2 millimeter wide, we'll be able to study in detail about a broader area. So അപ്പോൾ commonly നമ്മൾ ഈ പാരലോപൈപ്ഡ് വെച്ചിട്ട് നമ്മൾ സ്റ്റഡി ചെയ്യുന്നത് ഡെപ്ത് ഓഫ് ഡാമേജ് എത്രമാത്രമുണ്ട്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഫോറിൻ ബോഡി ഉണ്ട് എന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ആ ഫോറിൻ ബോഡി എത്രമാത്രം പെനിട്രേറ്റഡ് ആണ് ടു ദ പേഷ്യൻസ് കോർണിയ എന്നുള്ളതൊക്കെയാണ് നമ്മൾ പാരലോപൈപ്പ് വഴി സ്റ്റഡി ചെയ്യുന്നത്. സോ ദ നെക്സ്റ്റ് വൺ വിൽ ബി ഒപ്റ്റിക്കൽ സെക്ഷൻ or narrow beam. The resolution of the selection can be improved by reducing the slit width to a minimum and be viewed more clearly by increasing the magnification. Generally, the angle between the illumination and the observation system should be set around 45 to 60 degrees. However, to increase the amount of cross section, the angle can be further increased to 90 degrees. A good corneal section will allow at least 4 layers to be seen. The first anterior-most layer can be observed, then epithelium and Bowman's membrane combination can be seen. Stroma can be seen as central gray granular area, and fainter backline, which is the endothelium and Descemet's membrane combination. So അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ ഒരു ഒപ്റ്റിക് സെക്ഷൻ നമ്മൾ എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ കോമൺലി 4 ഡിഫറെന്റ് ലെയേഴ്സ് ആയിട്ടായിരിക്കും നമുക്ക് കാണാനായിട്ട് പറ്റുക ഇൻ ലോ മാഗ്നിഫിക്കേഷൻ. So the anterior most brighter layer will be TFLM. Then അതിനുശേഷം നമ്മൾ കാണുന്ന ഒരു brighter band would be the combination of epithelium as well as Bowman's layer. Then again stroma will be observed as a grayish pattern which will be diffused in nature, and then the next layer which we will be observing will be endothelium and Descemet's membrane ഒരു കോമ്പിനേഷൻ ആയിട്ട് ഒരു ബ്രൈറ്റ് ബാൻഡ് കൂടി കാണാം. സോ എ സാൻഡ്വിച്ച് പാറ്റേൺസ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു ബ്രൈറ്റർ ആൻഡ് ഡാർക്കർ പാറ്റേണിന്റെ ഒരു സാൻഡ്വിച്ച് പാറ്റേൺ ആണ് നമ്മൾ ബേസിക്കലി ഒപ്റ്റിക് സെക്ഷനിൽ നമ്മൾ ഒബ്സർവ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് പോകുന്നത്. Then ഒപ്റ്റിക് സെക്ഷനകത്ത് നമുക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്ന അടുത്ത കാര്യമാണ് വാൻ ഹെറിക് ടെക്നിക്. സോ വാൻ ഹെറിക് ടെക്നിക് എന്തിനു വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ്? ആംഗിൾ ഓഫ് ആന്റീരിയർ ചേംബർ എങ്ങനെയാണെന്ന് ഒബ്സർവ് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ്. So a further use of an optic section is to assess the degree of openness of the anterior chamber angle. The method is as follows. Use a low magnification which is 6 to 10x, which will allow us to view the whole angle in a better manner. Okay, so that we'll be getting the adequate field of view. Set the beam set the projection angle of 60 degrees to the side of this microscope and place a narrow slit as close to the limbus as possible. Precisely നമ്മൾ പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ 1 millimeter inside limbus will be projecting the beam of light. To assess the anterior chamber depth, you need to compare the width of the cornea seen by the optic section with the dark section seen between the front surface of the iris and the back surface of the cornea. So അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ ഈ ഒരു ആംഗിളിൽ നമ്മൾ പ്രൊജക്ട് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ will be having a corneal reflex, then will be having an iris reflex. So and there will be a dark space in between the iris reflex and the corneal reflex. So we need to compare the thickness of the corneal reflex with the dark reflex. So we can grade the same thing accordingly. Grade 4 will be the ratio of shadow and cornea will be about 1:1. So if both the shadow as well as the corneal thickness is equal, then we can say that the angle is open. If it is half of the or 1:2, then again the angle is open. Grade 4 will be wide open. Sorry, it's not open, it's wide open. Then 1 is to 2 will be open angle. Then if it is 1 is to 4, it indicates a narrow angle which should be viewed by gonioscopy. And if the grade is, if it is grade 1, the ratio is smaller than 1 is to 4, it indicates dangerously narrow angle which is likely to be closed. So here we can see an optic section which over here it's not focused on the cornea, it's basically focused on the lens. Over here we can see the anterior capsule, the posterior capsule and the layers of the lens. So conical beam it implies the principle of Tyndall effect and will be able to observe the cells as well as flares in the anterior chamber. So, we will be projecting a beam of light onto the anterior chamber. We will be considering the black portion or the iris as the black background, and we will be observing the pathway of light which is been projected, and we will be observing whether there is any uh, മൂവിങ് പാർട്ടിക്കിൾസ് ഓൺ ദ പാത്വേ ഓഫ് ദ ലൈറ്റ്. അതായത് ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മളൊരു ഡാർക്ക് റൂമിലേക്ക്, ടിൻഡൽ എഫക്ട് എന്താണെന്ന് നമുക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും അറിയാവുന്ന കാര്യമാണ്. നമ്മളൊരു ഡാർക്ക് റൂമിലേക്ക് വളരെ തിൻ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഏരിയ വഴി ഒരു ലൈറ്റ് പ്രൊജക്ട് ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ആ ആ പാത്വേ ഓഫ് ലൈറ്റിൽ നമുക്ക് എന്ത് കാണാനായിട്ട് പറ്റും? ആ റൂമിലുള്ള മൂവിങ് പാർട്ടിക്കിൾസിന് നമുക്ക് കാണാനായിട്ട് പറ്റും. ലൈക്ക് ഡസ്റ്റ് പാർട്ടിക്കിൾസും പൊടി എന്തെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അത് മൂവ് ചെയ്യുന്നതായിട്ട് നമുക്ക് ആ ഒരു ബീമിൽ നമുക്ക് കാണാനായിട്ട് പറ്റും. സോ ദ സെയിം തിങ് will be used over here too. So നമ്മളൊരു thin beam of light നെയാണ് നമ്മൾ പ്രൊജക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. So project ചെയ്യുന്ന angle will be about 45 to 60 degrees and will be observing for any moving particle on the pathway. If there is any particle, we'll be counting that particles and we'll be grading the cells as well as flares on that same area. Sorry. So we are ending the session over here. We'll be continuing with indirect illumination in the next session. So if you got any doubts, please feel free to ask. Thank you.